Good evening, and thank you for joining me for this college admissions presentation. My name is Lisa Roman, and I'm a school counselor at Oswego High School in Oswego, New York. I'm joined by 3 college admissions professionals who will be sharing their knowledge about the college admissions process. They will also address questions from the audience in a little while after their presentation. If you have a question, please use the chat function through YouTube. It's my honor to introduce our presenters. Karen Archibee, Assistant Director of Admissions from SUNY Oswego. Kyla Whannell, Admissions Counselor from Keuka College. And Shauna Nesbitt, Admissions Representative from Cayuga Community College. I also want to say thank you to Matt Bach, Technology Teacher at Oswego High School, who's helping us to live stream this presentation. I'm grateful that our presenters were willing to take time out of their schedules to share their knowledge for our college-bound students and families. Unlike in-person presentations I've done in the past, where no food is allowed in the theater, seats may be uncomfortable, I invite you to enjoy a snack and a drink, a 7-course meal, get into a comfy chair, wear whatever you want, and just enjoy this presentation. It's important to find the silver linings in this pandemic. So let's get started. Karen will begin, so I'll pass the microphone over to her. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Lisa. Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Karen Archibee, Assistant Director at SUNY Oswego, and so I'm going to kick us off and talk a little bit about SUNY in itself. So Oswego is one of the many colleges housed under the umbrella of the State University of New York. There's 64 colleges that are part of SUNY, and I'll be showing a map in a minute to show you kind of where everything is located. But basically it's broken into 4 sectors. So we're all part of SUNY. We are all SUNY, but we're all different. We all have different criteria, different locations, different sizes, different specialties. So there's a lot of us, but we all are really here to support students for sure. So we're broken into the 4 sectors, and they really range in terms of enrollment and application from an open enrollment to highly selective. So we'll talk about that tonight and what that might look like, and then where a student may fit depending on their academic caliber. What's really neat about SUNY is that we are part of the largest university system in the entire world. So University California State, they're a big part of a large sector similar to ours, but we are the largest. So we're very proud of being quite an entity, and really proud to be here to serve New York State and its students and families. So I'm going to switch over to the map. So really the map will just show you where we are, and we are all over the place, and we all represent different areas and different things. So you'll see the indicators there. There's university centers. These would be like University of Buffalo, and Stony Brook, and they're really larger universities that also will offer doctoral degrees. So if you want to be a dentist, you may end up at University of Buffalo or Cornell for veterinarian. So those are different length and time that you'll be, in college, essentially, and different degrees that you'll be able to earn there. Then we have university colleges, which is like Oswego or Oneonta or Brockport, Cortland. So we offer 4-year programs and some master's level work as well. Technology colleges like Alfred State or Morrisville, they're going to, range in length, usually 2 to 3 years, and they're going to have more specialized fields. So where we at Oswego are a liberal arts institution, a technology college is really going to have you focus directly into the field, basically upon admittance. So it's a little bit different. And then we have community colleges. So these are typically open enrollment, 2-year programs, and offering a really wide range of programs that you can get involved in. And Shauna, I know, will be talking in a little bit, and she can touch on those for Cayuga, but it's really a neat place to get started. At a community college, you can save money, and you can really do the work you need to do there, especially if maybe you just want to knock out those liberal arts courses. So, we're a very transfer-friendly unit in SUNY, so a community college is a great place to start, and they're all over. And a lot of them do offer housing. So if you're still looking for that college experience and you want to start at a community college, that's a great way to do it, is live on a community college campus, take your classes, and you're really getting the full college experience in 2 years. So I'm going to switch now to the 4 sectors in SUNY. So the map really broke it down, but just so you're aware with admittance and how that might look, a university center or a doctoral degree granting institution is usually going to be selective to highly selective. Those are going to be those A-type students. And now, of course, with COVID and everything happening with SATs and ACTs, things are going to look a little bit different this year coming up. But traditionally, those schools would be very selective in who they admit into their programs. University colleges, I won't speak for other schools within SUNY, but for Oswego, we typically look for a B average or better, traditionally about a 1050 SAT. So they're going to be in that range somewhat. And of course, even within the university colleges, there are more selectivity depending on which school you're thinking about. A lot of people, when they think about Geneseo, they know that that's a selective university college. So it will range within that as well. And again, technology colleges, moderately selective, community colleges, open enrollment, meaning that you're able to walk in from any walk of life and be able to start your education. So the different types of schools definitely serve different types of people. But at the end of the day, our goal within SUNY is to make sure that you're getting an education at a very good price as well. So now I'm going to just chat really quickly, and I'll let Kyla talk about some things with private schools as well. But there's over 100 private colleges and universities in New York State. So where I'm part of SUNY, which is public institutions, there are private colleges. Some are religiously affiliated, Franciscan schools, Jesuit schools like Canisius. So there's a lot of different ways you can go. And I know sometimes people might be nervous about private colleges because of cost, but you should never rule anything out. So private colleges can give you a phenomenal education with great resources and great abilities and opportunities. So we may have 64 SUNY schools, but there are over 100 private in New York State. If you look at all across the country, there's a ton available to you. So again, don't rule any college out based on cost until you do the FAFSA, which we'll be talking about. You never really know what could happen and what that package might look like for you. And one school that you might think is totally unaffordable might actually really work for you and your family. So we'll be talking about financial aid and cost and investment, but it is a very long-term investment for sure. So SUNY or private, really it's about what fits best for you as a student and your family. And what's nice is that you have options. And right now, even though things are looking a little bit different, you can be doing a ton of research right from the comfort of your living room. You can be eating a 7-piece meal if you like while you're doing this, like Lisa said. You can do it in the middle of the night. You can do it early morning in between when you're doing your schoolwork. So there's a lot of ways you can visit. Right now it's virtually for most, but you can sometimes drive around a campus. You can look at things online. You can meet with students virtually from that college. So it's really important, no matter what, where you are in the process or what you're thinking about for your college education, to start that contact, start building the rapport, start thinking about where you might want to be, start talking to those people there. This is my job. This is what I love doing. This is what my colleagues love doing. So we want to talk to you. We want to help you. We want to answer those questions. So no question is a silly question. And it's really great to start that conversation and make those connections with the counselors at each school that you're thinking about. Because at the end of the day, we can help you, we can advocate, we can work with you to make sure. So visiting, reaching out, saying hello, it never hurts at all. And I know a lot of colleges are offering one-on-one virtual appointments right now where you can sit and talk face-to-face with a counselor and ask those questions in more of an intimate setting. So we can still definitely do a lot of that research while you're home. It's about comfort. A lot of times if it's not about the major or about the financial aid package, it's about where you think you'll fit the best. So really it's about size, it's about location. We always joke, because we're on a lake, maybe you want to be on a lake. But it really is about the place where you feel like you fit the most, which I know can be tricky. And it is a really intense process for most students to really kind of figure out where they're going to be for the next 4 years. So you really want to do that research, and your counselors can help you with that. Your college admissions counselors can help you. So it's just about comfort and where you're going to be the happiest. So admissions requirements, again, vary from college to college. Speaking to us and really asking those questions, we try to be as transparent as possible. We know it's stressful as it is, so we don't want to add any more to the mystery of it all. So really talking with each college you're thinking about is going to be very helpful for you for sure. So that's going to close up my presentation for now. So I'm going to pass it over to Kyla and she'll lead you through a few slides. Thank you.
All right, guys. So we're going to be talking about the application process, which is obviously what you guys are probably, getting ready to do this fall. So there are over 500 colleges nationwide that accept the Common Application. And this is something that's going to be very important for all of you. Common App is what a lot of students use to apply to multiple different schools without having to, do 10 separate applications. So it kind of streamlines the process for you, allowing you to just do one application. I know I wish I had this when I was applying to colleges. And so for SUNY, you can also apply online at suny.edu. Private colleges as well have their own applications on their website. So you can easily find that on their admissions page. For applications, there sometimes is a fee. So it's about $50 for those SUNY schools. Private colleges may also have a cost, but some may be free, like Keuka. You just have to do a little research. Usually it's on their website with the cost of it. There could possibly as well be EOP or fee waivers for students. So that could be something you would inquire with your admissions counselor about when you are starting that process. Admissions requirements do differ from college to college, just like Karen was talking about. So what is most common is you will always have to include your high school transcript and SAT and ACT scores. And then also usually letter of recommendations are a requirement for colleges. So make sure you're getting that teacher or school counselor in mind of who you're going to want to ask to write that letter of recommendation. Some community colleges as well have free applications, so you can definitely check in on that if that's something that you want to, do. You want to apply to colleges that may have that free aspect, and so there are plenty that are out there. Some colleges also do waive the app fee if you do visit their campus. So with everything going on now, it's a little bit different, but hopefully, once things start to settle, maybe you'll be able to visit colleges. So next, on the next slide, we're going to be talking about different types of admissions. So there's early action and early decision. So this is something that is very common among some institutions. Early action is if you're wanting to apply early on and to hear back earlier than maybe some of your other colleges. It's a non-binding agreement. You're just finding out that news early. Whereas an early decision, it's more of a binding agreement saying if you're accepted into that college, you'll be attending that institution. So just two little different ones there, but early decision is great if you are wanting to get into some of those more competitive colleges. And so you can always talk to your admissions counselor, about that, and they can explain it to you more on how their institution does it. There is also the EOP or HEOP programs. So educational or higher education opportunity programs. Those may require additional application materials or may have a separate application in itself, which can mainly be found on the college's websites. I know we have a separate area where students can learn more about that. And then there's special admissions. So maybe it's a special talent or circumstances. So a special admissions program could be maybe an art program. So you may need to give an art portfolio to show them, what your abilities are. Or it could be, a health program, showing you have experience in that area doing internships, that type of thing. And then lastly, there's deferred or delayed admissions. So students that are applying for college in the fall, if you get accepted and you decide you want to take a gap year, you can defer your application for that following academic year. So you can take that year to maybe work or do something else that you were wanting to do. Delayed admissions is if you are going to delay it a semester. And so instead of starting in the fall, you'd be starting in the springtime. So next, we're going to be talking about, quality of your education, academic programs. Right now in high school, we want you to be taking, the most challenging programs and doing well in them. So do whatever is going to be best for you, but also challenge yourself as well. It's more than just, applying to the school and getting accepted to the school in general. There could be selective programs and scholarships that require you to take certain courses. So such as health programs. Science is really big, making sure you're taking that biology, chemistry, different courses like that. So you're going to want to make sure you do your research on the program you're interested in at those institutions you may want to apply to make sure you're meeting those qualifications. And some scholarships as well require you to meet certain courses, if it's a specific nursing scholarship, different things like that. And, do more than the minimum, more science, more math, take, maybe some AP courses if you feel like that's something you can handle, because you could get college credit, later on. So it's only going to help you in the long run. There's not always, that best option or, clear choice of what to take, but you really just need to be, the best judge for yourself and what it is that you can handle, especially, your senior year. So next we're going to be talking about college admissions testing. So the SAT, the ACT. For the SAT, maybe some of you guys haven't taken these tests, but it requires 2 sections. So it's going to be evidence-based reading and writing and math. And then with the ACT, it's going to be about scores from English, math, reading, and science. And so what colleges do with your scores is they're going to be super scoring is what we call it. So they will be taking, the highest scores that you receive from those tests. So most students, we encourage you take it more than once because you got one under your belt, you'll probably do a little bit better in 1 or 2 of the other subjects the next time you take it round. And so that is really helpful because some schools base scholarships off of maybe some of your SAT and ACT scores as well. So you want to make sure you have the best chance at getting, the best academic scholarships. And test optional, that's a word that students are probably hearing more and more now. At Keuka, we have been test optional for quite a while. And I know schools are going a little bit more test optional with COVID happening and allowing students to have that opportunity still apply and it not hinder their application process. And so when you are applying to schools, just inquire, but many schools are being very flexible with this. So you just need to, talk to your admissions counselors. So next we're going to be talking about the supplemental information you should include within your application. So extracurricular activities, get involved, be involved in, school activities such as athletics, maybe the music club on campus, community service, if you have a job, find things that you like and help you grow. And so including those on your application is going to show us, your commitment to your, academics, but also to, maybe your sport or your talent in music. And it really just helps showcase and shows us who you are. And then also show us, what you're balancing in and out of school, different things like that. When it comes to a personal essay on the Common App, that's something that is required. So coming up with essays, topics can be difficult, but these are some great starters for you. So an autobiography. So tell us, about yourself. Tell us about your career aspirations, why you're interested in that major, what it is that you want to do. You can talk about more of a personal story, and then other information that you feel the committee looking at your application should know. So, what would you like us to know that's not shown on your transcript? What is it that you want to explain that is on your transcript? Did you have, something happen, during one of those years that you want to kind of explain? So include as much as you want to help us give us a better idea of who you are as a student. But that's all I've got to talk about for the application process. So I am going to be passing it on over to Shauna.
Thank you so much, Kyla. My name's Shauna Nesbitt, and I'm an admissions representative at Cayuga Community College, which is a SUNY 2-year school, as Karen kind of touched on earlier in the presentation. Tonight, I'm going to be covering some planning tips for financing college and things you can do while you're in high school to help you prepare. So we'll start with some other tips that we can give you. You want to make sure that when you're searching for colleges that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You might have a dream school that you want to attend, but you want to make sure that you have a school that you've applied to that you know you will get into and you know you can afford. You want to have a safe school, a safe option, and make sure that you apply to a variety of different colleges. It's important because if you don't get into that school that you were looking to get into, you want to have a backup plan. Many times a community college can be used as a backup plan. I see students every semester that maybe were denied admission initially to the school of their choice. But once they come to Cayuga, they can take courses that will transfer in and they can attend that college the next semester because we've helped them prepare their application. You want to understand the difference too when you're looking at colleges between the tuition and fees and the room and board. So some students might commute to a college and they'll only be paying for tuition and fees. They won't be staying in housing. Other students will be living on campus. So you want to make sure that you know what that means. The tuition and fees are what you're going to pay for the classes that you attend and those other services. So there might be some other nominal fees depending on the program you're in as well. The average tuition and fees for a SUNY 4-year school are around $8,310, so $8,310, versus what can be much steeper at some private colleges and universities, around $34,740. Just for reference, at Cayuga, a full year tuition would be about $4,844. So there are many affordable options for students if you haven't prepared for that giant sticker price. The room and board is what you're going to pay to live on campus, for the meal plan, and you want to look at that. But it is typical between $12,000 and $14,000 per year, regardless if you're at a public or private school. So you want to make sure that you add in those tuition and fees to the room and board when you're looking at the full price. Some families may have prepared for college and they have a college fund ready, and you know what your budget is when you're looking. As Karen said, don't automatically discount a college just because you feel you can't afford it. On the next slide, we're going to be going over financial aid and the financial aid process. And the financial aid process can make some colleges that you thought were not affordable within your reach. So what you're going to do in your senior year, you're going to fill out the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA. And we've got the website right up there on the presentation. It's fafsa.ed.gov. You can do it as early as you want after October 1st. What that's going to do is you're going to be applying for the free money to go to school, grants. It's also how some students can apply for certain loans that are federally subsidized and unsubsidized. Once you see your financial aid package, you might have a better idea of what tuition and room and board you can afford. So that's your first step. So don't discount a college just because you feel it's out of reach. Fill the FAFSA out And then also make sure that you're inquiring with your guidance counselors, teachers, with the mentors and clubs you might be in for scholarships that are offered at your high school, scholarships that might be offered at the individual colleges. Check their websites. Check the websites for merit and interest-based scholarships. So sometimes they might be scholarships that are based on your grades and academics. Sometimes they might be interest-based. So you always want to check that. Don't discount scholarships because you might not be strong in math and science and you feel like only scholarships are offered to students who have high academics. That's not the case. Make sure you're checking college websites. You never know what's going to be offered to you. One thing you want to do is pay attention to the deadlines. Some of these deadlines are far in advance of when you might attend. So you want to make sure that you don't miss out on an opportunity just because you missed the deadline. That would be terrible. You want to be proactive in your search too. Look at those scholarships. Keep reaching out. Check with your guidance counselors. The reality today is most students do take out student loans, but financial aid and scholarships can help lessen that amount that you're going to be paying back for your education. And on the next slide, we're going to be going over the Excelsior Scholarship, which many of you may have heard about. It's tuition support that's offered for attending SUNY and CUNY colleges. And there are some private college options for that. So you want to check with individual schools to see if they offer it. Right now, if you want to be alerted for when the application comes out for fall 2020, you're going to want to go on to the website. And we listed, basically you're going to go to hesc.ny.gov and you're going to submit your email so you can be alerted when the application comes out for fall 2020. Just for reference, the fall 19 app closed on August 15th, but with this year, things are a little bit different with COVID-19. So you just want to make sure that you sign up for that alert so you know when the application is available. Essentially what it is if you're a New York State resident and your federal adjusted gross income is $125,000 or less, and you earn 30 credits per academic year at the school, you could potentially get free tuition. So you want to make sure that you take advantage of that if it's something that you can qualify for. So like I said, definitely sign up on that website to be alerted for when the fall 2020 app becomes available. So the next slide here, it's what should I be doing now? So some of you may be 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, 12th graders. Doesn't mean you can't start your college search. The answer to this question is going to vary too, depending on where you are in high school. You can start as early as 9th grade by getting organized, creating a file for all of the college publications and mailings that are going to be coming to you, keeping all of those correspondences that you receive in the mail, making sure you start thinking about what your interests are, writing things down. What am I good at? What do I want to do? These are all things that you can do very early in your college search. On the next slide here, college just ahead. It's kind of touching on what Kyla talked about as well. You want to think about who you interact with that you could be reaching out to for letters of recommendation, teachers, guidance counselors, coaches, people that know of your work ethic, of basically people that are going to write you a positive, glowing reference. You want to be thinking about who those people are. It could be a teacher that you've interacted with at school, a manager at your job, a guidance counselor that you know really well. You've made these connections all throughout your high school career and you want to take advantage of those connections that you made. So make sure that you're writing down people who you think you could ask for those letters of recommendation, and ask early. You don't want to ask a week before the deadline for a scholarship for a letter of recommendation and then miss out because the teacher or guidance counselor couldn't get it to you in time. So make sure you're preparing for that. You want to start visiting colleges, and this might look a little different right now. A lot of colleges are doing virtual tours, virtual open houses, virtual information sessions, because if you're not able to be on campus right now because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there are still ways that you can kind of reach out. But as Karen mentioned, sometimes you can go drive around a campus to get a feel for it as well. And always, right now, things are kind of day to day. So check those college websites, because these policies and might be changing, minute after minute. So you want to keep reaching out and seeing if things are changing and when you might be able to get on campus to visit. you want to make sure that your junior year, you finish it really strong. Why this is because that's going to be the most recent full year of coursework that the college admissions representatives and counselors see. You'll be in your senior year, but your junior year you will have finished it. So you want to make sure that that's strong. They kind of touched on it already, making sure you're in rigorous courses, math, sciences, taking AP courses, making sure you're challenging yourself. And then make sure that you're registered to take the SAT and ACT exams when they're available. Even though some schools may be test optional, there could be some scholarship opportunities that require them. So you don't want to miss out on those if it is something that you needed to have. At this time, I'm going to hand it back over to Lisa. Thank you so much for listening tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Shauna. Great information, everybody. So I wanted to remind the audience that if you do have questions, feel free to chat them, write them in the chat, and we'll address them as we see them come in. I do have a couple of questions here, though, to ask all of you panelists. So here's number one. What can I be doing to strengthen my application during COVID-19?
I can start that. I know it's difficult because obviously if you're involved in clubs and activities, theater productions, everything is at a standstill. If you're in a sport, your season may have been canceled. So I know that it can be very difficult for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. The biggest thing right now, obviously, is colleges are understanding of what's going on. We're not going to be reviewing students the same way we have before now. So I think first and foremost, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I can say as a consensus that it's important to take care of yourselves, important to take care of your families and spend time together and do what you can do. We're all in a rough spot. I know a lot of times if you think about what you're doing at home, whether you're supporting siblings or maybe you're assisting a family member, helping them with their business because maybe they have to do some things at home that normally they'd be doing in their office. It's things to know. It's things that you're doing. Trying to just look at things that you're doing day to day now in a different way and put that on your application when it comes time to talk about that. So you might be limited in terms of extracurriculars right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't talk about and highlight the strengths that you've noticed you're maybe growing with during this time. Another thing is virtual camps, virtual events, webinars, anything that you can look into online and use the time that you're at your computer to your advantage to maybe learn a new skill or check out something new or try out a new interest. That could be a way to help give you some insight as to what you might be interested in college, or just something that you might enjoy that maybe you hadn't known about before. So not all is lost with this whole thing, and just remember to give yourself grace because we're all going through it and colleges aren't going to hold any of this against you when it comes time to review your application.
Okay, so moving on to my next question then. What will I do if I don't get to take the SATs before I apply? And anybody can answer this and chime in if you have more to add, okay?
I know for us at Keuka, being a test optional school, we don't use the SATs or ACTs with any of our scholarships. It's not dependent on that. We solely look at your GPA. So if you are, applying to maybe a test optional school, definitely make sure, you're aware if it is going to affect you. But I would say, once you are able to, see if, you are able to take it later on, can I, send you those scores later on? And will that, help me? And I'm sure, the other counselors, they can, talk to you a little bit about maybe how their school would do it. But for us, it won't impact our scholarships specifically.
Same here at Cayuga Community College, we do not require SATs or ACTs for admission. So that doesn't really change for us. I know a lot of times we have students that have taken the SATs and ACTs and done really well, and they've used them for scholarship purposes, but for general admission, they're not required for us. So that won't really change even during this pandemic for our admission process, which is nice. I know many of the other community colleges are that way as well in the SUNY system.
I'll just finish up for Oswego. We're at a weird spot right now. We're waiting on SUNY. So we typically would require SAT or ACT for any incoming senior, incoming first year student. But right now we're just waiting for official word on if we can go optional. Really, at the end of the day, we don't want to penalize any student for anything that comes out of this pandemic, whether it's test sites being canceled or test dates being canceled, any limitations. So right now we're in a holding pattern, but as soon as we know anything, we'll be releasing communications to our local community and counselors that we work with, so that everyone is on the same page for the fall. And for us, we typically would look at a scholarship. To give a scholarship, we would look at your SAT or ACT and your GPA. It's kind of a combined effort at Oswego. Again, this year we aren't so sure. We'll obviously adapt and reframe things to meet those requirements. So for Oswego, please stay tuned if you are interested in applying to us and getting a scholarship. So we'll see what happens. We're hopeful.
Thank you. I do have a question from the crowd. Thank you, Julie. Her question is, how important are extracurricular activities when colleges are looking at applicants?
I'll go. I think it always depends on, what maybe program you're applying to, that type of thing. So if you have an interest in the health field, seeing that maybe you volunteered, places, different things like that will always help boost that application when it is going through that review process. And I think just showing that you're able to, balance other things, be able to not only be a student, but a musician, an athlete. It's going to help us really get that sense of, okay, you as a student, you're going to be a great addition to our campus, really, get into our community and be able to, show us your talents.
At Cayuga, while it wouldn't keep a student from being accepted, you don't have to have any extracurriculars to be accepted to our school. We do consider engagement on campus one of the second components of the college experience. So we do offer a lot of clubs and organizations for students to get involved. So we do find a lot of students may not have been as involved in high school, but when they get to our campus, they become very involved. They join organizations and clubs. And so that is something that we recommend on campus. It's part of your activity fee that you're charged. There's lots of performances by different acts on campus, and students can start clubs and join the student government and honor society. And so there's lots of opportunities to be involved. So if you haven't had the opportunity in high school, if you come to a college like Cayuga that doesn't require those extracurriculars, you can be involved on our campus once you get there.
Okay, I'm going to move on to another question. What internship opportunities are there in college?
I'd say that there are a lot. Every school will offer different types of experiences. At Oswego, we have over 1,100 internships available, and 60% of our students do at least one internship and 30% do two. Currently, the only program as of right now that requires an internship is criminal justice. So really it's up to the student on whether or not they'd like to do an internship, but it is highly encouraged. And employers nowadays really report that they're looking for, even for entry-level employment, they want people that have already had experience in the field. So if you're a full-time student, the only way to get that experience typically is to do an internship. What's nice too is that many colleges will offer it for college credit. So we have an office that works specifically helping students to earn college credit with their internship. So there's a learning component to the classroom as well. So you can kind of layer your time so that you're getting college credit while you're interning and you're not missing out on things on campus. So internships are incredibly important, and most schools will have them readily available through an internship office or a career coach. Professors also have a lot of internships available, and you can really do as many or as few as you want. It never hurts to try it out before you're going into it 40 hours a week. You know, so it's good to test the waters for sure.
Another kind of example of internships at Keuka, we have 4 internships throughout your time there. So if, you know, hands-on experience is really important, definitely, you know, research up on what internship opportunities are available. You know, 96% of our students are able to really see, you know, what it is that they want to do through their internship. So making sure that you're able to really, you know, participate in that in college is so important, because you can find out early on your freshman year doing an internship, okay, maybe nursing's not for me, you know, and so you can change your major. So make sure you're taking advantage of those opportunities, because it's going to be very valuable to you when you graduate.
And at Cayuga, our students involved in the criminal justice program, business program, telecommunications program, they can be involved in paid or unpaid internships, depending. So we also have our early childhood degree program includes specific field experiences where students can be in internships as well. So it's kind of program specific at Cayuga, but it's through our Cayuga Engage office, and it's all that information is available on our website if students wanted to kind of look that up too. Kind of goes more in depth.
One last thing, sometimes it's not about what you know, but who you know, and internships are a great way to connect with people in the field. I know many of our alum have told stories of someone that they met in their internship that referred them to another job, or had a connection in another industry that they thought they'd be a great fit for, and made a phone call and they had an interview set up. So it's really about building those connections too. So I know internships can sound scary at the beginning when you're thinking about it, but really they can be a huge connecting piece for you as well, to get to know people in the field, which could really help you, you know, land a great job right out of college. So another way to look at it.
Thank you. Another question is, I'm not sure what I want to study. Do I have to decide before I apply?
I can start with this one. Especially at a community college, many of the students that come to us aren't quite sure what their goal is yet. So what we kind of offer them is the ability to try different courses out at an affordable price. Courses that will transfer seamlessly to other schools. So a lot of students will come to us and they'll try out a business class, they'll try out a criminal justice class, they'll try out a biology class. And it's through those courses and those experiences that they really find out what their passion is. So at Cayuga, no, you don't have to know when you come to us. If you do know, that's great, but we can certainly help you explore all those different options.
I know at Keuka we have an exploratory program is what we call it. So students that maybe you're not quite sure what it is you want to do, you're going to be on a guidance track with an advisor, and they're going to help make your schedule with you, make sure you're taking courses that you're interested in, and helping you get those internships that you're interested in starting your freshman year. So at Keuka, it's more of a, you know, a guided path to help you decide what your major is going to be your sophomore year. So I know that's specifically how we do it, and sort of there could be similarities to other private colleges that may do something similar.
Yeah, for Oswego, I'll say you can come in undeclared. About a third of our students do choose the undeclared option. And then you have up until the end of your sophomore year to declare a major, and it's really for financial aid, not so much for our requirements. But what we do in the meantime is you're actually paired with an undeclared advisor, and she will basically work with you, helping you figure out all the ins and outs of kind of what makes you tick, what you like doing, where your interests are, So it's not just a cookie cutter approach in the undeclared program at Oswego. It's really a one-to-one kind of relationship. So she'll be helping assist, and she has people that help her. And so it's really kind of a lovely thing, and we help you figure that out. So you're not on your own. You can make a very educated decision about your program while you're in the midst. So that's what's nice. But I would recommend definitely, if you're looking at different colleges, especially any that aren't represented here tonight, definitely reach out to the admissions office, because I know some schools will have specific requirements about certain coursework you have to have completed prior to applying, especially if it's like a medical based program. So you really want to make sure that you meet the requirements for each college you're thinking about, because some might not care which program you want, and they'll just be happy whichever program you apply into. Some may require certain things, so that if you don't have those met, you might not even be eligible to apply into that program specifically. So again, I know it's a lot of work, but to really research with each school and keep track of what they need is going to help you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to remind the audience as we're starting to wrap up that it's basically last call for questions you might have. So please do use the chat in YouTube to ask a question if you have it. I do have a question or two left here to ask, but just didn't want you to lose out on asking the question you might have. So the next question I have is, if I start at one college, how easy is it to transfer to another one?
I can take this one to start because Cayuga is part of the SUNY system. We have the SUNY seamless transfer. There's some system-wide resources and policies that have been set up that help students transfer seamlessly between our institutions. So if you're taking English 101 composition at Cayuga, that's the same course that you'd be taking at Oswego or Rockport or Cortland. So it's designed to transfer both ways too. So if you start at Oswego and end up coming to Cayuga, the classes will transfer that way as well. So that's set up within the SUNY system. I'm sure if we have students that want to go to private schools, we do have a transfer counselor that we employ that liaises between our institution and that school with the student to ensure that all the courses they're taking will transfer seamlessly. And many other schools have those professionals that are in their employ. So you want to check, if you're looking to start at one school, you want to check what resources they have for transfer to make sure that you're supported when you do go to transfer.
I know we get a lot of transfer students maybe that come into Keuka, so they come from a 2-year and then they're going to end their college career at a 4-year. And so like Shauna was saying, make sure those credits you're taking are going to transfer. If you're looking for a specialty program such as nursing, occupational therapy, certain programs like that, I know specifically for us, you want to make sure you're going to take those right courses to be able to stay on track. And so make sure you are staying in touch with that transfer counselor at that specific school you're interested in to make sure you're getting the grades needed in those courses as well, to make sure it's going to help you and it's not going to, prolong your time, and, you won't have to spend additional money to stay, maybe a 5th year.
Okay, I have one final question that should look to kind of sum up everything. The question is, what do you look for in a student and their application?
Really, first and foremost, we like to see a complete application with all the information necessary. Sometimes things get missed, so it holds things up in the process. But overall, we like to see a student that's taken good courses. At Oswego, we don't compare student to student or a student from one school to a student in a different school. We know that every school offers different things, so we're not going to hold a student that's at one school that may offer APs. We're not going to compare them to a student from a school that doesn't. So that's something to remember too, is that the colleges know your high school, they know what kind of curriculum they offer, and so we'll go off of that. So we like to see a well-rounded student, someone that does good in school, tries hard, takes good classes, is in school, you know, goes to class. And then if they are maybe doing a half day, they're using that time in the afternoon to do something worthwhile. Extracurriculars are always really helpful just because it does let us know that you're going to find your place at Oswego, you're going to find your groups. So that's important. But really it's about, you know, a student that's really tried their best, and maybe high school wasn't their thing. Maybe they haven't found their way yet. But we know that college is a huge part of that in helping a student really grow. So we like to see students that are on an upward trend, doing steadily in terms of academics, and then applies on time. That's another big thing too. You don't want to sell yourself short because you apply last minute or late in the summer, and then you can't get admitted because the class is full, where maybe if you had applied in November, you could have had a spot. So well-rounded student that's timely, and that, you know, shows interest is always helpful too, whether it's coming in to visit or calling, talking with a counselor, emailing, just being engaged in the process is important.
I agree as well. It's a little bit different at a community college because we are open enrollment. So if a student is on track to graduate high school, they would typically be accepted to Cayuga. So we don't have GPA requirements. There's no portfolios needed for our programs. But many of the other schools that students are dreaming to get into do require these things. And where Cayuga can come into play for those students is if you need help building your portfolio for a program that you can't quite get to yet, we can be used as a tool to help you get to where you need to be. So we have a lot of students that come to us. The only thing that we're honestly looking for in a student is the will to succeed, because we're there to help you succeed. And no matter whether your goal is to get a degree from Cayuga or your goal is to get into Oswego and you might not have been quite the applicant they were looking for at the time you applied, we can help you get to that goal. So a lot of the students that come to us might be students that maybe aren't looking right away at Cayuga, but we're helping them succeed and get where they need to be. So that's kind of what we look for, that will to succeed, whatever their goal is.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with Karen. You know, that is definitely something that we're looking at as Keuka as well. And, you know, just being able to see, you know, you as a whole, you know, that's what we really like to see in the application.
Thank you. Well, we're done with our questions. We don't have any more from the audience, so we're going to look to wrap up now. I want to just thank you all for joining us here tonight for this presentation. We hope that it's helped with whatever stage you're at in the college exploration and search admissions process. And I want to thank again our presenters, Karen, Kyla, and Shauna. It's been very helpful for sharing your expertise with us. And I want to thank Matt again for helping to professionally live stream this so that people out there could get it live and ask questions live. I will also say that this presentation will also be shared out on social media as well once it's wrapped up. So people who weren't able to join can then join it, or if you want to watch it again, feel free. And finally, I want to thank our administration at the Oswego City School District for supporting this program. So thank you all very much, and I hope you have a great night. Take care.